A Superman reboot produced by J.J. Abrams is in the works, but will Henry Cavill return? Hey, it's me, AP, and welcome to the Saturday Movie Show, everyone. I hope you're all having a lovely Saturday as always. And yeah, this is big news, what has come out over the past 24 hours or so. We're getting talks of this reboot of Superman that is going to be produced by J.J. Abrams by his company Bad Robot, and it is going to. We know very few details about this at the moment, but it's exciting that we are getting talk of this happening. Talk of some more Superman movies because look, it's been quite a while since we had that Man of Steel solo movie. Now it was 2013, and I think we need another outing for Superman. We need something else to happen. We need to have more Superman, I think, in the DC EU because we're getting plenty of Batman films. Batman is all about the town at the moment. We're getting loads of Batman. Let's give us a bit of Superman in there as well to take the ease, take the burden off of Batman. So it's a big week, but basically let's get down to business. Let's get down to business, folks. So Deadline have reported over the past 24 hours. Here's the article that Deadline put out. So Superman reboot in the works at Warner Brothers with Ta-Nehisi Coates writing and J.J. Abrams producing. And I'll read a short extract from the article. So we got Deadline has confirmed that author Ta-Nehisi Coates is writing a Superman reboot feature for Warner Brothers and DC, which J.J. Abrams is producing under his Bad Robot label. Hannah Minghella will serve as producer. No plot yet, and no attachments, despite the fact that we've heard how Henry Cavill is eager to get back into the Cape. Ooh, that could be vital. That could be vital to what we're talking about here and talking about this topic today. And then it says Coates is attached to Ryan Coogler, who directed Black Panther, the Creed movies, first two Creed movies. He's got attached to Ryan Coogler, who directed the drama feature entitled Wrong Answer. So basically, he's got links to Ryan Coogler. Probably now, some people are speculating maybe Ryan Coogler could direct a new Superman reboot. But there's a lot to talk about here. There's a lot to talk about, and there's a lot to take from that article. So, I mean, first of all, again, it's great news that we're getting talk of a new Superman movie. I think a lot of people have always been mixed on Man of Steel, on Zack Snyder's Man of Steel, because it was such a different take on Superman compared to the Christopher Reeves movies back in like the 80s or 70s. So what do we want to see really? And look, what should happen here? Should we see a reboot? Should we see a remake? Should we see a sequel? What do we want as fans? I know personally, me as a fan, I would like to see Henry Cavill return to the role of Clark Kent and Superman. I'd like to see him get another opportunity to show us what he can do in that role. And I, for one, enjoyed Man of Steel. I enjoyed Batman vs Superman. I thought they were both good movies. And sure, I understand people's opinion of them, and I understand that people didn't like the Dark Zone. And sure, Superman is more of like a light-hearted character, and we didn't really get that. It was a darker tone to Superman, and look, it wasn't for everyone, and I'm sure the filmmakers understand that it wasn't for everyone. So maybe we're getting this reboot now. J.J. Abrams is a director who's very like a Steven Spielberg director. I like J.J. Abrams, and we don't know at this moment whether he's going to direct it as well. He could potentially direct it. He's just, at the moment, it is going to just be his company, Bad Robot, and he's going to be acting as a producer on this. But J.J. Abrams has a good track record with producing and directing, and I like a lot of the stuff that his production house, Bad Robot, puts out. So I think it's going to be a good move. I think it's a good move that we're getting something happening here. And yeah, what would I like to see? Like I said, I would like to see Henry Cavill return. My idea now, look, Zack Snyder's not going to return to direct it. I think that is pretty much clear. He won't be doing a Superman sequel of any sort or a reboot. I don't think it's going to happen. So, say Henry Cavill does return now, and we see him return as Clark Kent, and we see potentially someone else direct it, and we see a reboot, and make like a soft reboot of the character, and you could still feature the likes of Amy Adams and Lawrence Fishburne in the roles they had in the Man of Steel movie and Batman vs Superman. But yeah, just do a soft reboot. Maybe put some more lightheartedness into this. A few more comedy elements. I suppose make it more like what the Christopher Reeve movies were back in the day. More. They weren't heavy, were they? They weren't dark in tone, and they were lighthearted. And I think a lot of people have that affection for their movies because they're not too heavy. It's superheroes, but it's superheroes light, and sometimes it's nice to take a break from like this dark area of superhero storytelling and going into that. I think Marvel does it well. Marvel does it really well. They mix that lightheartedness, comedy element into it, and I think I personally would be intrigued to see more of that. I'd like to see more of the lightheartedness, even though I do like the dark tone of the Zack Snyder. I think Zack Snyder's tone for Man of Steel was good, but it is most certainly more suited to a character like a Batman, because of the dark tone of that character more so. The Dark Knight, especially from like the Dark Knight graphic novels as well, if you're looking at that sort of side and that type of Batman. But Superman he's not a character I've always enjoyed, but what I can assess from him, from looking at him, looking at all the media over the years, he's a character that's a bit more light-hearted, and you want to see something not too much into that area that goes a bit more into a heavier light tone. So yeah, I would like to see him return in a reboot, and I'd like to see just more of like Lex Luthor as well. I mean, whether it is Jesse Eisenberg return as Lex Luthor, or whether you set it in like a different part of the multiverse, it's on a different Earth. We see a different incarnation of Henry Cavill's Superman, and maybe like a recasting of Lex Luthor, and just really simplify it really. And look, you don't have to tell the origin story again. We don't have to see all this. We can just go. Let's just jump into a Superman story. Let's get into some sort of hatched plan by Lex Luthor. He comes up with some villain to take on Superman, and let's see something like that. Let's see something not overcomplicated. We don't have to see Superman die. We don't have to see any type of resurrection. We can just see something fresh. And look, we've not really had a proper. Again, it's 2013. Man of Steel came out. Before that, and then it's back in the 80s. It's big jumps in time since we've seen these Superman movies. I would like to see it. I think for me, because the reason probably why I don't enjoy the character as much is we don't see these big movies come along all the time, and maybe it's a character that I've just not related well with. But we're getting a lot of like Superman content coming out at the moment, especially we've got like the Lois and Superman series coming as well. I think people do like Superman, and people are starting to enjoy him more so. So why not take a lot from what the Superman show is doing? It's it's not like a super dark show. Take some of the elements from that. I mean, there's opportunities there. You can either do I was thinking about this morning. Like, as I said, plot ideas, what you could do. There's a few that are like, look, Action Comics 1938 is when Action Comics 1, and the year was 1938, when Superman made his debut. There's opportunity here. If the role is recast, there's tons of storytelling opportunities here. Do we set Superman in, say, the past? Maybe set a Superman in the 1940s or 50s, or even if we go to the 80s, do a Superman movie set in the 80s, and again, that would be something fresh. It would be something different. We see it with, we see Wonder Woman 1984 recently, set in the 80s, and the one prior to that was based during World War One. I'm sure you could do something similar with Superman. Why can't we do them across so many years, like going through into certain decades of time, so we can see a different look at Superman, maybe like a 90s one. I think there's loads of opportunity. We could even have Superman go into a future world or go into a different planet. I like the idea that there's so many ideas here, but I think they just need to keep it simple. You either keep it simple or you do some wacky, convoluted idea that's just the audience can't keep track of. I think keep it simple for now. Introduce that character again, reintroduce it. If you're going to have Henry Cavill, we don't have to have the origin story again. I think that's what would make me want to watch it more, not having to watch all the origin of Superman all over again. So I would like to see him return. I would like to see Henry Cavill return. But who should direct a new Superman movie? Who should it be? For me, I would like to see J.J. Abrams direct it. As I said, he's a director who is very similar in style to a Steven Spielberg. Over the years, you can see the inspiration that Steven Spielberg has had on him as a director. And his movies are very similar in tone to like Steven Spielberg movies. And that's where I think it fits in well with this character of Superman. I think he could create a family-friendly Superman movie. And I do think J.J. Abrams, with the links he has, we can see something really special. I mean, I'd like to see... My ideal scenario is like we have J.J. Abrams direct, we have Henry Cavill as the starring role, the majority of the main cast from the Man of Steel movie return, even General Zod. I mean, could we have General Zod return? I think that would be great. I really enjoyed Michael Shannon in that role. I'd like to see Michael Giacchino maybe as the composer of the movie, because again, he is very similar to a John Williams type composer. I mean, we don't have to have the John Williams classic Superman theme return music, but we could have something similar to that, or maybe you have a few elements of that. I think the best thing probably for Superman right now is to look back at what the Christopher Reeve movies were doing, more so 1 and 2, the first 2 Christopher Reeve movies, and look back and say what worked here, what was working well, and how can we adapt that now to a modern movie, to a modern Superman movie for the audiences. Because I don't think our tastes have changed massively over 20, 30 years, or probably longer now. I think we want to just be entertained. And if we have an entertaining movie, that's what we all want. Look, the Zack Snyder movies were entertaining, but they were dark in tone. You left the cinema feeling a bit drowned in darkness. We need that more family-friendly inspiration from their movies, from the Christopher Reeve movies, to be shone onto any Superman reboot now. And I think that is the only way it works. And I think it works. It worked with the first Star Wars, The Force Awakens, with J.J. Abrams. He took everything from the original trilogy and put it into The Force Awakens. And in the second movie, The Last Jedi, we didn't see that. We didn't see that happen. And it was a very weird plot. It just didn't feel right. I thought it was an alright movie, but it didn't have that light-hearted element, the family element, the nostalgia element that The Force Awakens had. If we get J.J. Abrams in here to do a Superman reboot, he brings in the Man of Steel cast, but then brings in a lot of like feel of nostalgia. Maybe he does bring in the John Williams theme in. Maybe we see like the classic suit of like the red like underpants as well, something like that. I mean, I think that is the way you've got to tap into Superman right now. You've got to tap into people's nostalgia and what people really like about Superman. And I think a lot of people still For Superman, when it comes to Superman, people name their favourite Superman, and it probably is Christopher Reeve, and it's probably them first two movies. So let's hack into it. And that is what I want to see. I want to see a J.J. Abrams Superman movie with a ton of nostalgia from the old movies. So let's move on to some more news this week. More news. Let's step away from Superman. So it has been announced this week that Spider-Man 3 will be titled No Way Home. So it was announced this week, the title announcement. And this is coming out in December of 2021 this year. And we're seeing Tom Holland. We're seeing Jamie Foxx return as Electro. We're seeing Alfred, I can't remember his surname. We're seeing Doc Ock, the character of Doc Ock as well. A lot of the characters from the two previous Spider-Man movie franchises are all rumoured to return, including Tobey Maguire, first Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield, second Spider-Man. We're seeing Harry Osborn. We're seeing lots of William Dafoe's Harry Osborn. Not Harry Osborn. You know that Osborn I'm on about. The Green Goblin, anyway. We're seeing all these returns rumoured, and we've got the new title, No Way Home. What does this mean? First of all, I like the title. I think it's a cool title. It fits in with the rest of the movies. It's the Home trilogy. And what does No Way Home mean to me? So we're getting all these teasers of the multiverse and all of these different Spider-Man characters over the past few movies, few franchises being rumoured for this movie. I think we're going to get a plot where Peter Parker is starting in his universe, in his Earth, and I think there's going to be a plot where, for some reason, this is where you got Doctor Strange in the plot. Benedict Cumberbatch is returning his role for Spider-Man 3. I think he's going to get thrown in to the multiverse, into different Earths, and I think this is where you're going to see him go to Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man verse, and then you go to Tobey Maguire's universe as well. And I think this is where the title No Way Home comes in. I think Peter Parker is going to feel like there is no way home to his Earth. And then you see the villains from different multiverses take him on, and you see him collaborating with other Spider-Men, and we see this Spider-Verse, live-action Spider-Verse. I think that is the way it's going to pan out in this movie. And I do think he will return to his Earth at some point, maybe at the very end or in a post-credit scene. I do believe he will return. Or maybe he doesn't return at all, and then there is a mantle that needs to be taken on the Earth that Tom Holland's Spider-Man has left. Then we see the rise of Miles Morales' Spider-Man on that Earth. And I mean, that would be intriguing. There's a lot of people like Miles Morales now. He's featured in the new PS5 game, the new Spider-Man game. People like that character. Why not? That would be an opportunity to then you have an alternative Spider-Man, a different version of Spider-Man, as Miles Morales' Spider-Man. And it doesn't mean you can't still do Tom Holland's Spider-Man. He has said this week he would sign up for 10 more Spider-Man movies. So he's more than happy to do the role by the sounds of it. Why can't we have two separate Spider-Man? We have two alternative Spider-Man at the same time. And then you could even at some point then do the full-on Spider-Verse of like Miles Morales, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland. We could have all of these alternative Spider-Man. We could even have Gwen Stacy as Spider-Girl, Spider-Gwen. There's tons of opportunity. I feel like the title is a tease for that, and that's me speculating. It's a theory at the moment, but that is the way I think they're going to do this, and especially with all of the casting rumours at the moment. I think that is the way they're going to go with this movie and the way this movie will pan out. I do believe it'll be like Tom Holland's Spider-Man go into these different multiverses and something like that happening. But I would really like to see that at the end, like a tease of like Miles Morales as Spider-Man taking on that mantle of Spider-Man. I think it would be a really good idea and a really cool way to end the movie as well. So another bit of news this week is the reboot or revival, if you like, of the TV show Frasier, and it is rumored to be coming around. Well, it has been rumored for a while. This reboot, this revival, and it's now expected to happen in 2022. It's been confirmed by Paramount Plus and by Kelsey Grammer as well, who starred as a title role as Frasier Crane, and this is going to be coming to the Paramount Plus streaming service. That is now a new service that's coming out. I believe it's coming out soon, or it's launching soon, or it's already launched. What do I think? I think, first of all, there's loads of these reboots and revivals that have happened over the past couple of years, and we're seeing even more coming now. And is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? First of all, I really enjoyed Frasier. It is a series I've watched over and over again. I didn't watch it when on its original run. I never watched it on its original run, but it is something that I have really enjoyed. I purchased it on DVD a few years ago, and I've watched it over and over again. I really think it is a great sitcom, really great sitcom. It is like a time for me. It's like a classic sitcom. It's going to be one of those timeless ones for me. I would say it's up there with like Cheers before that, and I mean like Seinfeld as well. And they're all very good sitcoms that are gonna last the test of time for me. I believe so anyway. But do we need a revival? Do we need to see Frasier now in 2021, 2022? The show initially ended in 2004, so look, it's over 15 years. Do we need to see more of this character? Because I felt like the ending was perfect. He left in the end, he left Seattle. He was saying goodbye to the life he had for so many years over the series of Frasier. He started in Seattle as the radio TV host, radio host shrink. But do we need to see this now? And this new version? Because first of all, Martin Crane, his father, who was in the show, the actor who played him sadly died a few years ago, so he won't be returning. We don't know what of the cast will be returning. Whether we're going to see Daphne or Niles. It's come out today. The actress who played Daphne, she has a different role now. She's in a TV show called The Resident. And she said if it's during the Resident film, she won't return. Now maybe there might be a workaround there, or it could be just the case where she just doesn't feature, and we maybe see the likes of like Ross, Niles returning. I mean, does he even return to Seattle? Does he return to Seattle? Did something happen where he's got to return and he's starting again on the radio show? Is he still a radio host, or is he even still a shrink? We don't even know. There's a lot of answers. Do I want to see it? I suppose with me, there's a lot of intrigue. There's intrigue because I really enjoy the show. I've really enjoyed that show. And I don't. Sometimes it's like with a movie series or a TV show. When you see a perfect ending, you kind of don't want it to be tarnished. And this idea of a revival, I mean, will it tarnish the legacy that was left there with such a great show that was created, or will it add to it? I mean, look, I will definitely watch it. I will definitely watch this show, and again, for me, it's just eager eyes for me. I'm looking forward to just seeing what they can come up with, because I do think Kelsey Grammer is a phenomenal actor. I enjoy a lot of the stuff he's in. Will this be a 10 out of 10 show? Who knows? It's a different era now. Sitcoms have changed a lot over the years. I think sitcoms have not. I don't believe sitcoms are as big as they were in the 90s. At the time, Frasier was big because sitcoms were big. We had Seinfeld, we had Frasier, we had a load more coming up as well, being released. But I suppose time will only tell. I hope it's good. I really do hope it's good. But 2022, we are going to get a Frasier revival. And look, let's just see what happens. And you never know. It could be awesome. It could be awesome. So, what have I been watching this week? Let's get to what have I been watching this week. This week have watched a movie called The Crow. You heard of it? I'm sure you have. Brandon Lee starring as The Crow. This film, I've never watched it before, and first views, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good watch. And spoiler, if you don't know the backstory of this film, Brandon Lee, the son of Bruce Lee, he died during the filming, and they had to then use CGI to refilm certain scenes within the movie to digitally impose his face on a body double. And really, I honestly can't tell. I couldn't tell you where the scenes were where they've superimposed his face. I wouldn't have a clue. When you compare it to like more modern movies, like when Paul Walker died, and you could see where they put his face on his brother's faces who were acting as body doubles within that movie. But in this movie, I couldn't really tell. I thought it was really done well. I enjoyed the movie. I'd never read anything of like the comic of The Crow. My first dip into The Crow, I suppose, was through the wrestler Sting from WCW, and he wore the same makeup as The Crow, and he was that character. His the Scorpion, the Crow character he had, and still has, it was very much inspired by the character of the Crow in the movie. So that was where I always knew the Crow from. But I enjoyed the movie. I really thought it was a good movie. Some great performances in there, a great soundtrack. I really enjoyed the music in it, and it was well worth the watch. And if you never watched it, I definitely recommend watching The Crow. Definitely a really good superhero. Well, yeah, I'd say it's a superhero, maybe like more of a vigilante movie, I'd say, rather than a superhero actually. Next up, this week I've watched the recent episode of WandaVision. So WandaVision episode 8, and again, it lived up to the potential. It was very much, for me though, like an in-between episode. It was very much like a bridging episode, bridging the story together a bit. We sort of see why the Hex was created, why WandaVision Westview was all created. We see like all these flashbacks through Agatha Harkness, who uses like this spell to show us how this all happened, like the origin of this WandaVision story. And we see the sort of like her past as well as a witch, her becoming within the story as well. We see that Wanda is the one who created all this. So she created a whole hex. But we see this character debut in Age of Ultron, Wanda Maximoff. And we see that her and Pietro were these characters that were experimented on, and basically the powers were sort of experiments, and they were given to them. But within this episode, we see a young Wanda in flashbacks through this memory spell, what Agatha Harkness puts on her. And we see young Wanda and young Pietro when the house gets bombed by a Stark bomb. And she is able to protect the brother and then dismantle the bomb. We don't actually see it, but she says it just happened. And it's kind of a retcon of what has been told before. Because we know back when the Age of Ultron come out, they couldn't use mutants. They couldn't use the idea that Magneto was Wanda's father and Pietro's father. So it was all retcon that the powers came through experiments from Hydra. But now they are saying that she had potentially had the magic power within her before. There was potential there, and she had some sort of gifted powers before that. So it's kind of saying like that she was always going to have them powers even before she come into contact with the first Infinity Stone during them experiments with Hydra. So it's really interesting, and I think we're going to still... I still feel like we're going to see a Magneto tease or some sort of Magneto appearance. I do believe... I really think that Ian McKellen is still going to make an appearance in this. I'm sort of now more inclined to say probably it's going to be Sir Ian McKellen or Michael Fassbender. Some version of Magneto is going to feature in this. I'm just so sure of it at this moment in the last few episodes. So I enjoyed the episode. Again, it was a very bridging episode, and at the end we see this white version, this rebirth of the Vision from the body that was destroyed by Thanos and by Wanda. and it's been a dismantled body by Sword, and they've rebuilt it in the post-credit scene. We see this rebuilt version of Vision outside of the Hex, and it's like this white grey Vision. And is this going to be a good character? Is it going to be an evil character? Does he hold the memories of Vision? This is going to be very interesting to see. My predictions, I've not read. I don't know whether this is a character that's featured in the comics before, but I'm just predicting by the look of him. He looks like a more villainous type Vision. He doesn't. Whereas you've got your good Vision within the Hex. This is a look, and you look at the Vision. I think it's going to be an evil version. I think it's going to turn the way Ultron turned, and that we're going to see this bad version of Vision, because we've seen the good version of Vision for so long now. Why not show this heel version, this bad guy version of Vision? I think it would be cool to see. So I'm looking forward to the next few episodes of WandaVision, and I'm still, again, I'm really enjoying it, even though it's like a bridging episode and it was telling the story of like her origin to become Scarlet Witch, Wanda with the powers. And that, again, the ending moments of the episode, Agatha Harkness says, "You're a Scarlet Witch." We see that name mentioned, and that is great. So are we going to see that name used in future MCU? She's going to be in the Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange 2. Is she going to be named as a Scarlet Witch within that? Are we going to see a costume that comes from the comics, the red costume that we've had teased in the Halloween episode, but like a proper MCU version? I would really, really like to see that. I think it would be amazing to see on screen. A really cool one though, not like a cheesy Halloween one, like a real MCU, like a metallic type costume. That is what I want to see. Or just, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. A super duper fantastic outfit. So yeah, 10 out of 10 episode again. I'm really enjoying this show. So let's move to housekeeping section of the show. What have I been up to this week? And first of all, a new Patreon bonus podcast debuted yesterday, Friday, the second episode of the Watch Order Task Force. And this is a show where I go through certain genres of movies and give you the best way to watch these movies. So this episode of the Watch Order Task Force looks at Middle-earth. There is a teaser on the YouTube channel that I put up yesterday. It is a Patreon podcast, so if you do want to check it out, it's just a bonus podcast. You don't feel obliged to check it out, but if you do, you can sign up to my Patreon, the lowest tier, and it is available to all Patreon tiers if you want to check it out and if you enjoy the content here. I've been filming a load of new content this week. I'm working on trying to... Look, this is a plan of action at the moment. I want to do like every 3 months. I'm big into wrestling, and I see at the end of every month we see this pay-per-view, a big event. Next month, I'm looking at ideas of doing like a 3-month event. So every 3 months we do something big for the channel, whether it be a certain special video or just something extra special on the podcast. Look, it may not be something huge. It may be just something very small, but I'm working on some video ideas at the moment to try and do something over the 3rd month and every 3 months following, so like the 3rd, the 6th, the 9th, and the 12th as well. So I am working on stuff, and look, I hope it comes to be whatever I'm working on. I want to try and put out more cool content. I like talking about movies, but I want to also add other elements in as well. I've not done any webisodes for a while. I'm hoping to do... I really want to do a webisode or a short film at the end of this year, and it just depends on time. Time is just one of those things where I'm working on other videos, other content. I mean, you can only allot your time to certain things, but at the moment, I'm working on a few different ideas for next month. There's something that you'll all like, and it is going to be movie inspired. And look, hopefully it will come to fruition. If it doesn't come to fruition next month, it will at some point. What I'm working on anyway. But just stay tuned to this channel, because I'm keeping on working on things. And again, I appreciate all the feedback, all the comments, all the subscriptions. It is awesome as always, and I can only thank you. I say thank you right now very humble thank you. I do appreciate all your support, and I really enjoy this community we got going here. It is amazing. It's too sweet. Too sweet. So, anyway, let me know what your thoughts are on things on today's show. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a like and check out the rest of my movie-related videos. Let me know as well, what do you want to see? Do you want to see a Superman reboot with Henry Cavill? Who would you like to see direct? What sort of story would you like to see? Let me know your ideas. Let me know if there's a certain comic book, Superman comic book, that you'd like to see adapted into a Superman movie. And what did you think of the title of Spider-Man 3? What do you think is going to happen there? Let me know what your thoughts on all the topics that I've mentioned on today's Saturday movie show. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.